Hello, 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 and welcome to Women's Wisdom Wednesdays, where we come together every Wednesday to inspire women just like you, foster connections, and thrive on our journey of surviving womanhood. I'm Casey Conrad, well-being specialist and whole life coach. And can you believe it? We're in our 5th season. Today's episode is number 55. That's crazy, right? And as we gather around this season of Thanksgiving, we couldn't be prouder or more grateful to share this journey with all of you. Each episode has been a celebration of wisdom, resilience, and the unique voices of women, again, just like you. Together, we've built a community of strength and empowerment that we're honored to continue growing. Thank you to all of our listeners for supporting us, sharing your stories, and showing up for each other week after week. Here's to more inspiration, more connection, and more gratitude as we move forward together. Today, I'm delighted to welcome my very special guest, Kadie Johannson. Good morning or good afternoon, Kadie. It's lovely to see you.
Hi, Casey. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to
Yes,
be here.
thank you so much. For a moment, I'd like to address you, our amazing audience. Your engagement and support have made this journey possible, and I look forward to continuing to bring you more empowering content. I'd like to remind you to visit our website at www.survivingwomanhood.com, where you can find valuable resources, connect with other like-minded women, and stay updated on our upcoming episodes, webinars, and workshops. We encourage you to actively participate by asking questions and adding comments. If you have a story to share, we'd love to hear it. This is a safe space where we can learn and grow together. We'd also like to ask you to share your favorite episodes. You never know who out there needs to hear these inspiring stories. Now, let's meet Kadie. Kadie is no stranger to the microphone as the general manager of KILJ Radio AM FM right here in Mount Pleasant, Iowa, where she masterfully balances a thriving career along with her busy life at home. Kadie lives with her husband, Evan, and their 3 lovely and lively daughters, 3 cats, and 2 of her daughters are twins. How about that? So Kadie embraces her beautiful chaos and her full household. When she's not helping businesses tell their stories or running after her little ones, Kadie enjoys sipping good coffee. I'm right there with you. Nothing better than that. Diving into books on history and politics and pondering life's mysteries, like why anyone puts carrots in Jell-O. And I 100% agree with that. And the question, do they really like it? And do they actually ever eat it in their own home? Or do they just bring it to social occasions? Right?
Yes.
Kadie's passions extend far beyond her home and work life as she serves her community through organizations like Rotary International, the PEO Sisterhood, and you can tell us more about that, Kadie, school PTA, community theater, and more. Kadie's goal is simple yet profound: to make the world a better place while raising good humans who aspire to do the same. So, Kadie, before we begin with our questions, please tell us more about the PEO Sisterhood.
Sure, I'd love to. So PEO was actually founded here in Mount Pleasant, which is super cool. Back in the 1800s, a group of women at Iowa Wesleyan, this was back when, women were first starting to enter the collegiate world, decided, hey, we need to stick together because we're stronger when we're together and we need to help each other. And so they started this sisterhood to promote taking care of one another and to furthering education. So now PEO is international. We have chapters up in Canada and all over the United States. And we raise money so that we can provide scholarships for women to continue their education. So maybe it's you're in high school and you're going into college, or maybe it's you went to a little bit of college and life happened and now you would like to go back to school. Or maybe it's even you have a great job and a career, but you'd love to go get a doctorate's degree. And so we have scholarships and programs to help all types of women get to pursue those dreams and to become educated. So I love that. I love that organization and it means so much to me.
That's fantastic. And maybe when we're finished, you can share a link with me and we can put it underneath the video and people can get more information because it fits right in with the surviving womanhood community. And so if you would do that, that would be fantastic because we
Sure.
love to bring more resources to women, right? No
Absolutely.
matter what age. Okay, shall we begin?
Yeah,
Oh,
PEO.
go ahead.
Sorry. PEO is for women like 18 and older. So it is mostly for adult women, but obviously, my girls will grow up learning some about it and hopefully they'll want to continue and join us. But anyway, yeah, it's for women 18 and older.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. That sounds like a wonderful organization. I would like to learn more about it myself,
Sure.
actually. So great. Okay. Managing an active radio station. And I'm going to say, I have taken advantage of KILJ and their wonderful hospitality as well through my businesses here in Mount Pleasant. And I'm very appreciative and very grateful. And Kadie is wonderful to work with. So just let me share that and say I'm grateful to you in this time of Thanksgiving for welcoming me when I was new here and allowing me a platform to share with others what I do. So I want to just say a personal thank you for that. That was fantastic. And Kadie's very supportive of local businesses. And it's when you walk into almost any business that has music on here in Mount Pleasant, you will hear that they are listening to KILJ. So that's a wonderful testament to you and to the organization.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So managing an active radio station while raising 3 busy daughters sounds like a full plate. How do you balance the demands of your career with the responsibilities of motherhood? And what strategies have helped you stay grounded during these challenging times?
Well, I have to say that's a great question. And every day I'm asking myself the same thing. I think one thing is you have to have good people around you. And so that's the key. You can't do it all yourself. And the sooner you realize that, the easier your life will be, the less stressful your life will be. So I don't do it all myself. I mean, there's no way I can. So, at the radio station, it's trusting your employees and giving them the tools that they need, having their backs. And then, yeah, saying, look, this is your thing. Like, I'm here, but this is this is you. And so I think giving people that ownership of, their role that they play here at KILJ. We're a small staff, but everybody is so vital. And if one person, is lower, then that affects everybody, right? So we work together and we have each other's backs. And so I think same thing goes with the household, right? You have to, make sure that you've married a partner that, you can go through life's challenges with, and that has your back and that you have their back. And at the end of the day, like that's really all that matters, right? Is that you have people around you that love you and that you love. And so I think, when we boil all this stuff down, that's the main thing, but it's not that easy either. So good coffee, I drink a lot of water, and then good wine. I think those three things too really, really help with those things. But we talked a little bit about this, Casey. It's you make those lists. You try to stay organized as best you can. So for me, that's Google Calendar is huge because it's on my phone and on my computer, and it dings at me when I need to do things. And so I think utilizing some of those tools has been helpful for me. And at different times I can expect, okay, work is going to be a lot right now, so I need to adjust over here what I'm doing to maybe we have frozen pizza that night for supper, whatever. It is what it is. And then sometimes it's okay, the kids are sick and I need to put more energy into taking care of them or helping them with a situation, and I have to delegate at work, or I have to, I just have to understand, hey, this stuff maybe is not going to get done to the level that I wish that it could get done. It'll get done. We'll make it through, but life isn't perfect. So not everything is perfect at the same time ever. And so I think for me, the main thing that helps me stay grounded is just reminding myself of those things. Like, look, life isn't perfect, but it's okay. Nobody is asking me to be perfect. So that's something that I've had to really work hard to learn as I've, matured. And I think maturity is huge. I think as you have experiences and you encounter situations, you're always learning, okay, how could I navigate this better the next time? And so you're just sort of calibrating, as you go along. And sometimes it works. And then sometimes you go, okay, I need a new strategy because the old one isn't working anymore. What do I need to do? And so then you have to problem solve, you have to adapt. And I think you just figure it out. You calling your podcast Surviving Womanhood.
Yes.
That's what we're doing. We're surviving.
Yes.
We're taking it one bite at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time. And we're just living in that moment. We're not going to worry about what's happening, what happened. We're not going to worry about what's coming. We're just going to try to enjoy this moment. And so when I'm at work, I try really hard to be at work. Like I'm at work, I'm focused on work as best that I can be. And then when I go home, it's the same thing. Like obviously with the radio station, we're on 24/7. Things happen, go down, people get sick, whatever it is. And so there's a lot of times where you're pulled away a little bit. But for the most part, when I go home, I say, okay, work is done. Now I'm at home and I'm with my family. And this is what's important right now. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something my mom, I feel like did really well. So I think also kind of looking at how my grandmother does things, how my mother has done things, asking other women, how are you doing this? What is the magic here? And that can help you kind of figure out where can I improve, or what can I do differently to feel like, hey, everything is good. So I don't know. I think it changes. But for me, making a list, and I do that at home even. I've started making a list at home. I used to I was like, I'm so organized at work and I do so well. And then I just feel like a failure at home. And like, I'm not getting anything done. And I've started a gazillion projects, but I haven't finished one of them. So it's like, okay, no, just implement the same thing, right? Like make a list, put a 1 by the most important thing, and 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever it is. And then just do it in that order. And then, hey, you are accomplishing something. You did get it done. You can put a check on it. You can cross it off. You can erase it.
That's
whatever.
So important, right? I got something done. What we were talking about earlier about being productive, right? Whenever I can tick off a box, I feel very accomplished, right?
Totally. So I've started kind of doing that, and I think that has helped a lot too.
I think that's wonderful. I think those are wonderful suggestions. And actually, those are suggestions I make often to clients about, and I want to reiterate something that I heard you say not in these exact words, but how important it is at home and at work to have a community that you can rely on and to understand. And I think this is one of the things why I'm gonna stress this point. We forget as women, because something else you said, we feel like we have to do it all, or we're failing. And when we can understand that, allowing for others to come in and help us, because there are other people who are more well equipped at work and at home,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who are more well equipped to handle certain aspects of that situation or that circumstance. And I think to relay that idea, that concept to other women out there, allow for that community, create a community. And a lot of us already have that, and we just are not recognizing it, right? But
And
look at
utilize
people
it.
around you.
Utilize it. Yeah.
Yes.
People want to help.
They do. They definitely want to help. And people don't always know what to do, and so sometimes we'll feel like, oh, so and so isn't doing something for us, or if only they would. But we have to remember, we have to let them know they can't read our minds.
Right.
They don't know what we need. And people, and in this day and age, I think it's become even more of a thing. People don't want to overstep or step on toes or intrude when they're not sure they're welcome.
Mm.
So let those people know that they're welcome. Bring in that community at work and at home. And do, if you have something that's working really well at home, somehow figure out how to align that with what you do at work. Because I learned this years and years and years ago, that when you have certain talents to get things done, those things translate at home and at work if you allow them to, right?
Yeah, it was almost like a light bulb moment that I had where I was like, why am I thinking that home is different than work? It's, maybe it is, maybe, there's things about it that are different, but really it's all the same thing. And it's just a matter of being able to manage your time, manage the people around you, your children or your coworkers or your clients, whatever it is, your husband. But yeah, it's just figuring out what works for you. And I think too, knowing yourself, like
Yes.
being
So,
aware of, yeah, there's things I'm not good at. And I can tell you that, like, I know, like, look, these are things I don't like to do, or for whatever reason, I haven't figured out how to do well yet. And
mhm.
so those are the things that I ask for help, or those are the things that I'm, having to fine tune and figure out what's going on there. And sometimes you don't really know until, like, maybe my husband he'll point something out to me that I'm doing and I'm like, wow, I didn't realize that that was happening, but now that you've pointed that out to me, that's a key piece of information that's going to help me become a better person, become better at managing this stuff, become better at managing the stress that maybe I feel from the stuff. Because I think for me, and I can't speak for everyone, obviously, but like I think I put a lot of internal pressure on myself, right? Like I'm feeling
Mhm.
this pressure to, my house needs to be cleaned a certain way, and this has to be done just so that everybody's happy. And it's like, nobody has told me that. Nobody said it
Right.
had to be done that way or that it must be done this way. That's just something I've made up or I've put on myself for some reason. And so giving myself permission to lift that off of me and say, I am who I am. I'm comfortable living in this chaos, in this mess, or in this disorganization. It works for me. It's okay.
Yes.
Has really given me a lot of freedom to be okay and to take a deep breath and enjoy my kids and to have fun at work and to roll with the punches a little bit better.
That's wonderful. That is a wonderful point. And I hope that all of you listening out there have heard that. Feeling free to be you and accepting who you are, warts and all, right? Or mess
Yeah.
and chaos and all, is such a liberating thing, right? Because we're not here to impress anyone, right? And once we realize that, things just, like it's
Mm.
like being able to take a deep breath. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you. Thank you very much for that. So, both radio broadcasting and parenting can come with their fair share of surprises and challenges. How have these two roles shaped your resilience, and what lessons have you learned about navigating the unexpected?
This is so funny because when I was in high school, my science teacher, I was like asking him on a test or asking him about a test. Was this going to be covered in the test? And how is this going to be going? And I had all these questions. And he's just like, Kadie, you're way too high strung. You need to just, it's fine. You'll be fine. You know the content. Don't worry about it. And I was like, but that doesn't answer the question here that I'm asking you. Um, but I think that, that is something I know about myself. And so as I've gotten older and I've had these surprises come up, I've had to let go of some of that, right? Like having twins, um, yeah, that's just things are what they are for a while, right? Like you're not expecting
Surprise!
that. Yeah, surprise. And how awesome has it been? But I would lie if I was saying I wasn't a little bit nervous about that, right? Like, oh my gosh, no, we have this problem now, and then we got to think about this, and we got all of those things, right? But I think um, having enough of those experience teaches you that there's always going to be something, right? Like I don't know what that something is today, but I can tell you something happens. Like this morning, for instance, one of our computers at the radio station has decided to start having disk drive failures, which means the computer's probably dying.
Mhm.
And we knew that this was coming, but like we didn't know it was coming so fast. And now things are broken and we're having to adapt. But right, if it wasn't that, it would be something else. An upset listener or an upset client that I would have to deal with, or my kids are sick right now, going to having to schedule the doctor's appointments. There's always going to be something. So you just expect that a little bit, right? You just say, look, I'm here. I'm going to have a great day. I've got a rough plan of what's going to happen, but it's okay if it doesn't go exactly. And it's also okay if I have to switch gears in the middle of the day because of something. So I think, again, every time you have those experiences, you get stronger. You see, oh, I came over on the other side of it and everything is fine. The sun came up tomorrow. It's amazing. The sun came up this morning. So you realize, okay, it's fine. This is life. And I
Mhm.
think for me, my grandfather, who is the owner of the radio station, and I feel so lucky to get to kind of step into this to an already built um, thing. You talk about the community loving KILJ so much. Well, that's because of the 50 plus years of work that he's put in.
Right.
And when I talk to him about maybe some of the issues I'm seeing or, hey, this is happening, and he says, Kadie, for 50 years, that's been happening. And so then you say, okay, so this is how it is. This is just how it is. And so I think being able to recognize that, understand that those stressors or those surprises also make you stronger and give you opportunities to fine tune those things about you that you don't like, give you opportunities to work on those skills that you know you need to. I think a lot of times it's like, here's your sign, it's like you're not doing something and then something happens and forces you to do it. There's your sign. Like the universe or God or whoever is saying to you, Kadie, you need to work on this. Here you go. And good luck. Right. And so, but again, humor, laughing, having people you can go to be honest with or to be kind of that venting or that brutal, like this is what I truly think. That you can't say that to everybody,
Right.
and so
Yes.
you've got to have those people too that you trust 100% and that maybe don't always agree with you but will listen. And then and sometimes it's, hey, I need advice on this. Sometimes it's just, look, I'm so frustrated with this. I've just got to, for me, I like to talk. So it's like, I need to just talk through this issue. And I don't think it's solvable, but at least if I've talked about it, then I know what's going on and then I can deal with it. So also for me, I think learning that not everyone is going to like you, and that's okay too. When you have these issues or these surprises that come up and you're dealing with them, and you're, maybe the conversation didn't go maybe the way you wanted it to, or you felt like I didn't really shore things up there. Sometimes that's okay.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's like, well, it's okay. Like
It's a good learning experience.
right. Not everybody likes you. Not everybody's going to respond to what you have to say, and that's okay. And don't take it personal sometimes. I
Right.
think at work especially, don't take it personally. It's okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm a little bit naturally resilient, and that's something when you talk about parenthood that you got to teach your kids, right? It's like that struggle is so important, for that overcoming that struggle is like a big monumental life change for kids. It's like, wow, I had this really hard thing, but I worked really hard at it and I did pretty good.
Yes.
And that feels awesome.
Right. That's that personal productivity,
Right.
right?
So,
So
yep.
I'm gonna just sum this up in a nutshell. You have a lot of wonderful points. And just to give it a bit of a mantra, I think, is expect the unexpected and embrace the chaos.
I love that.
Yeah, wonderful. So, as a mother and a professional, how do you approach being a role model for your daughters? And what values or life lessons do you hope that they can carry with them from your example when they grow up?
Oh, that's such a, you hope that you're perfect so that they're perfect, right?
But you know you won't be,
I
right?
think exactly. Yeah. And I think this is something that, like, when you sent this question, I've been thinking about it. It's like, this is something I need to put a lot more focus on, of like, how am I being perceived by my children or my family or my coworkers? And is that the perception that I want them to have, you
Mhm.
know? Um, I think for me with my daughters, it's like I think they know that I'm always trying to do my best. And sometimes I'm not at my best. And if I can say to them, "Look, I'm not at my best right now. I need to go take a break. I need to take a deep breath, or let's sit down on the couch and read a book," or whatever it is. And to just admit when you've made mistakes is a huge thing. So I think for me, it's like I tell my my staff here at KILJ, it's like, you do what you say you're going to do, and if you don't do what you say you're going to do for whatever reason, you tell that person or whatever, and you make it right. You do whatever you need to do then to fix it. So we're not always going to do what we're supposed to do. We're not always going to follow through with what we said we were going to do. But when that happens, how do you respond?
Mhm.
Right. So for me, I think for as being a role model is understanding I'm not perfect, but every day when I get up in the morning or when I go to work or when I come home, I'm trying to be the best version of myself in that moment. And that's all I can do. And being honest is important. So I always stress that of, honesty. You just, eh, before it gets to the big problem, right? It's like,
Mhm.
when that first inkling happens of this is not going well for whatever reason, or I messed this up, instead of trying to cover that up or whatever, it's like,
Yeah.
excuse me, instead of trying to cover something up that I've made a mistake on, it's a lot easier to just say, "Oh, I'm making a mistake. I need help. I don't understand somebody," and maybe somebody can
Yes.
help me before it becomes a big problem. And so I try to teach that with my daughters for sure.
I think that's wonderful. And also it gives them cover, doesn't it? I mean, it gives them the ability or the desires, even the freedom to take more risks, right? To try new things, because if they say I'm going to do this, and it might be something new for them, or something that's an adventure, And then they get partway through and they're like, oh, this is not happening correctly, or this is not happening correctly. They can come and say, mom or dad or whomever, right? This is what I want to do. This is what's happening. Can you help me? As
Mhm.
opposed to when we say to our children, you're not going to be able to do that, right? Or that's not something you're going to be able to do, and they're going to try to do it anyway. Yeah. And then they get into a pickle and they don't want to ask for help because they don't want to be told that, I told you so, or such a
Mhm.
thing, right? And I think that's even us as adults,
Oh, totally. I hate feeling ashamed or feeling,
right?
I hate that feeling.
Yeah.
And
So when you say that, you give yourself permission to stumble, right? Give yourself permission to stumble and again go back to that community for support. And then I think everyone becomes more successful, right? And people are more willing to take those risks or set out on those adventures, whatever they might be.
yeah, I, there's so many different things when you talk about role modeling. It's like role modeling how you speak with strangers, role modeling how you interact with your spouse, role modeling how you, for me, school is work. So, hey, we're going, there's no,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, yeah, well, sometimes we have to do things we don't want to do and it's okay. You can do it, just
Right.
we're doing it. And so I
Wonderful.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, we're doing it. So, yeah. And, but then I think too, it's learning too, right? Like, so if you make a mistake and you do something you shouldn't do, or something happens and you admit to it and blah, 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 the next time the situation comes up,
Yeah.
now you know. And if you know, you got to do the right thing.
Yes, exactly. I love that. So, with your busy schedule, finding time for yourself can be challenging, I'm sure. How do you carve out moments for self-care? Something like we talked about before we went on air, right? And why do you think it's essential for women balancing multiple roles to prioritize their own well-being?
Well, I think, the question is, what is self-care? And that might be different for everyone.
Yes, for sure.
So I
Mhm.
think you have to kind of know maybe what it is that you're needing. Um, and so for me, sometimes that's doing what I don't want to do is self-care. Like if it's, look, I need to do the laundry because I need clothes for work or whatever. Well, that can be self-care to say, no, today I'm doing it. I'm going to tackle this project. And that makes me feel like I'm taking care of myself. Eating healthy is a good example. It's something that I used to be really good at. And as I had twins and all of that, like it's something I need to get back at. But that's self care to me, saying, no, I'm cooking tonight. I'm going to make whatever. And I'm going to make the time to make the vegetables and do the thing because it fuels my body and makes me feel good. So self care can be different for everyone, but it's something you have to do. So you have to know, if it's exercising, moving your body can really make you feel a lot better mentally. Physical exercise can help your mental state. So I think, you just got to find what it is you're needing in that moment and then respond. Yeah, sometimes like last weekend, I raked leaves and worked in the yard all day long and I was exhausted and I knew I need to take I have a nice bathtub. I'm like, I need to take a nice hot bath. And so I stayed up late and I took a hot bath when everybody went to bed. And it was like, that just, even though I got less sleep and I was a little bit tired the next day, the bath, I needed it. It felt good, helped my muscles, whatever it was. So, um, and I think too, to recognize routine for me, like routines are self-care in my opinion, because I kind of just build that into the routine. Like I make sure I'm building in time for that. So, I like to take my vitamins and then I drink my water and then I have my cup of coffee and then I have these routines that I do and those to me are very comforting. Those to me set me up, in a good headspace for the day, whatever it is. I really have come to love kind of that day to day routine. And my daughters too. My kids thrive when they kind of know what to expect, right? If I can kind of
Yes.
if I kind of know what to expect throughout the day, it helps. It just helps. So build the structure and the routine, and it doesn't have to be rigid. I mean, listen, life is not like that. So it's all for adaptation as you go. But kind of have a general sense of what I like, and that tempo and tone really helps me, take care of myself and how I need to take care of myself. And sometimes your friends or your family have to step in and say, Kadie, you need to go blah blah blah, or
Mm-hmm.
you need to take a break. And then, oh, okay, let's take a break. Let's stop what we're doing and put on our oxygen mask before assisting others, as they say on the
Yes,
airplane. Right?
definitely.
Totally have to
Yes,
do that.
I like that. And I think also there is that uh, for routines, I like to call them rituals
Ooh, I like
because,
that.
yeah, because it feels much more kind of sacred like.
Special. Hmm.
And I really enjoy the same, ritual is self-care for me as well. And it leaves me open for those things that are unexpected, right? I know some people they take their routines or their rituals to an OCD point
Yeah, I can't do
where
that.
if they're um in any way there's any upheaval in that routine, they struggle to adapt. And I think that being aware that the ritual or the routine is such an important part of your self-care that it also can bring you to a more peaceful and adaptable space if you view it in that way, right? Like when I can rely on these things going this way, when something like a bomb is dropped in the middle of that,
Yeah.
it makes it a little bit easier for me because I can go, okay, this happened today, so we'll deal with it, but then tomorrow I'm going to go back to the same rituals and all will be well with the world, right?
Right.
I just
That's
need to get over
huge.
this little hump. And
Hmm.
then, yeah. So I just wanted to make this point that having these rituals and routines can be so important. But to be able to understand that if there is disruption, it's temporary.
Well, and I've even, in times of my life, I've even like thought to myself, okay, what are some of the things that may happen today? Not that they will, but like
Mhm.
what, I have this thing coming up. Let's say I have a presentation. Okay, did I prepare well? Did I do all the things? And maybe I didn't. So I go, okay, I have this presentation coming. I didn't necessarily prepare to the level that I wanted to. Um, Being able to uh, quickly kind of shift, adapt, and know what works for you so that you can do your best, and because life isn't perfect. So you have to be able to um, kind of navigate that. And it ebbs and flows. I mean, I'm not perfect at it. And I think sometimes I have to do a reset. I have to literally say, okay, I need sleep with twins, and everything. It's like
Yes,
I need
yes.
sleep. Like I have to take a nap. I have to do this. So maybe instead of running that errand I was going to do that day, it's not urgent today. So instead of doing that, I'm going to put in place a 20-minute rest where I just lay
Yeah.
down and I breathe and maybe I fall asleep or maybe I don't, whatever. But for 20 minutes, I set a timer or an alarm or whatever, and I'm doing it. And, that helps too. I think just
Yeah,
setting a
that's a
timer,
great
like,
point.
or if I have a big project and I am feeling kind of chaotic about it, it's like, okay, for 20 minutes, I set the timer. I'm going to work on it for 20 minutes. I'm probably not going to get it done in that time, but at least I've worked on it for 20 minutes. And then I give myself permission to go do the self-care thing or, whatever. That's self-care too, of saying, okay, I'm 20 minutes, I'm doing the dishes. If I get them all done, awesome. If I don't, that's okay. I can do them tomorrow,
Yeah,
you know?
great. So that's all wonderful points. And again, I'm going to just kind of nutshell this last portion. by saying have contingencies, right? Have contingencies so you're prepared for the unexpected as well as we can possibly be. And listen to your needs, right? Listen to your body, listen to your mind, listen to your heart. And if you, such as needing a nap, take a nap, right? If you need to just stop and press pause for whatever the time is, do that. And then you're much better when you go back and press play again. That sound about right?
Absolutely, yes.
Great, wonderful. So with such a busy schedule, again, I just wanted to thank you for coming, for spending time with us and with our audience and sharing your wonderful story and some really amazing tips for other women out there who are experiencing something similar. And before we close, I just want to ask, is there anything that you'd like to leave our audience with?
Well, I think, I'm not that inspiring. It's, I'm just a human doing the thing that we're all doing. And I think, I feel really lucky to have friends and family that mean so much to me and that take care of me. And so I think build that network for yourself would be what I would say. Make sure that you have someone, or a cat or a dog or somebody that will, be there for you. It's so important. You can't do it by yourself. Nobody expects you to do it by yourself. So, don't be on an island. Don't put yourself on the island. Come join us. We're all just doing it, and maybe not well, but we're doing it together.
Yes, thank you so much. That's lovely. So let's just take a moment to appreciate Kadie for sharing her inspiring journey with us. Kadie, your strength and contribution and resilience are truly remarkable. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. And if you've been touched by Kadie's story, we invite you to leave a comment, again, share your own stories, suggest future topics or guests, and actively engage with the surviving womanhood community. And please remember to mark your calendars for our next Women's Wisdom Wednesday episode next Wednesday, when we'll have the privilege of welcoming another remarkable guest who'll share her inspiring story. And to catch up on any of our Women's Wisdom Wednesday episodes that you may have missed, please visit our website at www.survivingwomanhood.com and click on podcasts. Or you can go to your favorite podcast platform and look for Surviving Womanhood Women's Wisdom Wednesdays. Together, let's face every challenge, rise above adversity, and support one another on our journey of surviving womanhood. Thank you again, Kadie. Thank you so much. And to our audience, see you next time. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone.